absolutely great honor, said President Trump. President Trump has tapped the 5 co-host Judge Jeanine Pirro to be the interim U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. Jeanine is incredibly well qualified for this position and is considered one of the top district attorneys in the history of the state of New York. She is in a class by herself. Congratulations, Jeanine, he said. The New York Police Department arrested 61 females after an anti-Israel agitation stormed Columbia University's Butler Library on Wednesday as students were studying for finals. In total, the NYPD made 80 arrests, 61 of them females. Just 19 males were arrested. Our quote of the day: if we wish to make any progress in the service of God, we must begin every day of our life with new eagerness. St. Charles Borromeo. And coming up, our saint of the day. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Attention coffee lovers, the Founders Trading Post has done it again. We have actually increased our selection of America's best gourmet coffees. Try the new Borromeo roast from Twin Pikes Roastery. Order today and take advantage of flat rate shipping at shop.mikechurch.com.
Our saint of the day is Saint Gregory Nazianzen. After his baptism at 30, he gladly accepted his friend Basil's invitation to join him in a newly founded monastery. The solitude was broken when Gregory's father, a bishop, needed help in his diocese and estate. It seems Gregory was ordained a priest practically by force and only reluctantly accepted the responsibility. He skillfully avoided a schism that threatened when his own father made compromises with Arianism. At 41, Gregory was chosen suffragan bishop of Caesarea and at once came into conflict with Valens, the emperor, who supported the Arians. An unfortunate byproduct of the battle was the cooling of the friendship of two saints, because Basil, his archbishop, sent him to a miserable and unhealthy town on the border of unjustly created divisions in his diocese, and Basil then reproached Gregory for not going to his see. In such surroundings, he began giving great sermons on the Trinity, for which he is famous, and in time, Gregory did rebuild the city in faith, but at the cost of great suffering, slander, insults, and even personal violence. His last days were spent in solitude and austerity. He was acclaimed simply as the theologian. He wrote religious poetry, some of it autobiographical of great depth and beauty. Saint Gregory Nazianzen shares the celebration of his liturgical feast with Saint Basil the Great on January 2nd. Sean Diddy Combs faces 15 years to life in prison if found guilty of sex crimes charges during an estimated 8-week trial, which kicked off Monday, May the 5th. The female-driven team for the U.S. Attorney's Office includes 8 lawyers, according to the docket, and the 5 women designated as leads include Maureen Ryan Comey, the daughter of FBI Director James Comey. Maureen's father was fired by President Donald Trump during his first term in the White House after the handling of the Hillary Clinton email probe. Maureen previously served as lead prosecutor in the criminal case against Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Radio Network, seeking news and finding truth.
Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com.
We don't know where the Ark of the Covenant is, but we do know that Mike Church will give you a chance to win his pound of gold, and all you have to do is listen for the golden sound of the day. Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. on the Mike Church Show on the Crusade Radio Network.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look, the plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
So let's go back.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they used to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
Well, folks, it's the end of the week, and boy, howdy, do we need it to be the end of the week. You could just hear the greatest radio producer in the history of radio producers howling across the room. Woo! Give me a Ric Flair on that. Greetings to you, wherever you may be and whoever you be. Crusaders from the front lines of cultural, constitutional, and Christian restoration. It is I, El Jefe Dude Mike Church, reporting for duty today on a free phone Friday, asking the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, and remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day.
Sure is.
So, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
It's free phone. It's free phone. Yes, it is a free phone. They are charged with the task of telling us what it is we shall talk about here on the program. Telephone number anywhere in the world to take me up on this kind, benevolent, beneficent offer. Use of these radio airwaves. 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, same as it ever has been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. Crusader Stadium chat room open at crusadechannel.com/chat. Streaming you live across the internet and the interwebs on YouTube at Real King Dude and on x.com at the King Dude. Of course, on crusadechannel.com and in the Crusader Stadium chat room, crusadechannel.com/chat. So we've been talking a lot about Pope Bobby today. Pope Bobby. All of this is stuff that's being made about, we've got, it's the Chicago way. And that he's a White Sox fan, and that he's a Chicago guy, and this and that and the other. I think that what's going to happen over the course of the next couple of days is we're going to hear things like what Damian Thompson has posted on x.com about what went on in that conclave. For those of you that were with us on 990 AM WGSO yesterday, I hope you tuned over and you got to hear the remaining coverage. It was almost exactly an hour from the time that the white smoke hit the Sistine Chapel smokestack to when Roberto Francis Prevost Chione Decima Quattro. Actually, in Latin, it's quadra. I could give you the French. Quatre. Came to the loggia after being introduced and then gave his first talk and said the Confiteor. If you're a regular Catholic, then you know what that is. Said the Confiteor, gave some other prayers out, said a couple other things that you could interpret one way or the other, and then went back into the papal chambers. He said Mass this morning. He gave a pretty long homily. He then led the Cardinals in the singing of the Regina Caeli, which was very beautiful. And, I was watching the Mass and going like he's walking around. This is just me complaining or talking out. I'm not complaining, just talking out loud. If you're going to go through all the rubrics, if you will, of what's in the old Mass, and he did it. I mean, he incensed the altar and everything. Incensed the altar, I'm sorry. And then the subdeacon took the thurifer and then incensed the crowd. I'm like, if you're going to go through all that, why don't you just do the old Mass? I don't get what is the objection? What exactly is it that drives you laity people out there bonkers about it when someone says, Dominus vobiscum, and you go like, what am I supposed to say? And with your spirit in Latin, it's not hard. Et cum spiritu tuo. I think all of this is going to pass. As a matter of fact, I know it is. In any event, Pope Leo XIV, we are learning this. I just wanted to share this with you. New Orleans' own, you people that are listening in New Orleans, New Orleans' own Brother Andre Marie of the St. Benedict Center. He is a slave to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, a dear, dear friend and contributor here, and has been since day one on the Crusade Radio Network with his wonderful show, Reconquest. Brother is a New Orleans native, went to Jesuit. He went to Holy Cross. Brother is in New Hampshire now with the slaves to the Immaculate Heart. Brother will join us at next segment, and we'll talk a little bit. We'll get Brother's thoughts on Pope Leo XIV. And Brother's always a fountain of information. If you have a question for Brother, then you're going to want to either email it, IamKingDude at protonmail.com, go to the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. Okay, and I actually see Brother is standing by, so we'll get to Brother next segment here. This is from Damian Thompson, and I think you're going to probably hear some more things like this. As always, this is hearsay. It doesn't matter. But since there's a lot of conversation going on, I thought I would share it. I just spoke to influential traditionalists in Rome, and they think Leo will be a vast improvement on Francis, or Shudder, Cardinal Parolin, who did not get elected. The name, the traditional robes, an excellent homily today. The new pope may not be a conservative, but he isn't a continuity candidate. There will never be a Francis II. As for the TLM, one source said, quote, Leo doesn't enjoy hurting people, unlike Francis or Roche, close quote. Now, that may not be a large comfort to many people, but then again, as we have been saying, just leave us alone. Just let the thing play out. I think everything will be okay. We have a lot to say about this, and we'll talk a lot about it when Brother comes on. I want to catch you up on some other news and stuff that's happening out there. But before I do that, to all my Whodad bros, Pope Leo XIV has ties to New Orleans. There is a story. I don't know, did Maggie print it out? Did you print it? About the, I can read it off the screen. I have it right here. This is on the front page of the Advocate today. Pope Leo XIV has roots in New Orleans' 7th Ward. See his family lineage and history. Pope Roberto Francis Prevost, now Leo XIV, was named the first American pope of the Catholic Church. Blah, blah, blah. You already know that. According to Jari Honora, a local genealogist and historian, when Honora heard the last name Prevost, he started digging, and the odd chance that Leo XIV's paternal line might be French-Canadian or Acadie, Acadiana with Louisiana ties. What he found, Meche, to his surprise, was that Prevost's mother, Mildred Martinez, or Martinez, depending on whose side you're on, was the one with familial records to the city. In less than an hour, Honora, who works as a historian for the Historic New Orleans Collection and was a researcher on the PBS documentary Finding Your Roots. It's actually Finding Your Roots. Or if you're a New Orleanian, finding your mom and them's roots. How about that? Finding your mom and them's roots. Hey, Brian, where's your mom and them's roots? I'll tell you where your mom and them's roots are. What did I say? Wait, I should have said finding your mom and them's roots. Yeah. Oh no, that's Western Louisiana. That's Lake Charles. Okay, that's Lake Charles. Okay. All right, that's not New Orleans. I was able to track the Pope's maternal grandparents to the 7th ward, or as they say in New Orleans, the 7th ward. 7th. Kind of like record. What's that? What's a record? You mean record, right? Record. That's what I said. A neighborhood long recognized as a cultural stronghold for people of African, French, Spanish, and Native American descent. He also found evidence that the Pope, 69, had Creole of color roots. According to his Facebook post, dating back to 1722. Now, I just happened to, because I did a documentary that someday I'm going to broadcast, and when all my contests and everything are over, part 1 on De La Salle is done. The other 5 parts are written, but I just happen to know a little bit about this. Dating back to 1722, Louisiana's gens de couleur libre. That would be the generation of colored people. Population was heavily Roman Catholic and known for its contribution to art and business. Actually, let me give you the accurate history. When Bienville, when Bienville came and established the city of New Orleans in 1721, this was what, other than the Indians that they had hired. This was because they needed guides. This was 100% French Catholic. Don't let anyone tell you any different, Hoodettes. The city of New Orleans was settled and established as a French, exclusively Catholic colony. Don't believe me? Fine. I will wager you whatever you want. It stayed that way until then Spanish Governor Miro in 1791 convinced King Charles of Spain to change the policy and allow English Anglicans to settle, but only if they agreed that they would send all their little children to schools run by Irish Catholics. True story. Look it up. When the French leased Louisiana out, or New Orleans, basically, to the Spanish, because they didn't want the English to get it, same deal. The Spanish upheld that because they both countries were largely Catholic at the time. Pray that we return to those halcyon days. But you weren't becoming a citizen of the old city of New Orleans from 1721 when Bienville got here until 1791 unless you were a Catholic. So the idea that they were largely, no, they weren't largely, they were. Now, I cannot vouch for anyone that was brought in as a slave, which shouldn't have happened with Catholics anyway, but subject for another day. He also found that about the Creole roots. Leo XIV was born and raised in Chicago. Said in a past interview that he was open to the priesthood because clergymen were always in and out of his childhood home, and as his mother often fed them. Can you imagine that? There used to be a time when if you were in the mean streets of Chicago or the mean streets of New Orleans, you drive around the city of New Orleans today, still, to this day, you can't swing a dead calico cat by the tail and not hit the front door of a Catholic church. Which is not to say that the city is Catholic any longer. It still is predominantly and largely, and it has foolishly lost that part of its charism. I believe it'll gain it back at some point in time if it's ever going to be restored. But it was the same way in other cities, like in Chicago. And there's a little bit more history about this. Honora tracked down a marriage license that showed the Pope's maternal grandparents, Joseph Martinez, and Luis Baquia. Which way is that a lace-on pointing? Baquia were wed at Our Lady of Sacred Heart on Annette Street in 1887. Joseph Martinez claimed Haiti as his birthplace, Honora said, which could very much be true given the back and forth that has always existed between New Orleans and Haiti. Or you could have deeper New Orleans roots. I'm still working on that. There's an interesting little tidbit there. Martinez, his older brothers and sisters were all born in New Orleans in the 7th Ward. They moved to Chicago between 1910 and 1912. And like so many Louisiana families, they shifted their racial identity. They moved to a big metropolis and go about where people assume you are. So I thought that was very... that Pope Leo XIV has those ties to the Crescent City is just interesting. And I'm sure that many, there's some people will now start looking into that. And who knows what else we'll find out about that. A couple other headlines that we wanted to hit here today. And some stuff that we had a great show planned for all of you yesterday during the Power Hour. Who knew that the chimney was going to blow white smoke? One story that we covered 2 days ago, and that we have to get back to covering, is that where is today's cut sheet? Okay, I'm just going to have to go from memory here because I know it's in the pile somewhere, but I can't find it. RFK Jr. ran as a candidate with Nicole Shanahan. Nicole Shanahan, okay, so 2 days ago it was announced by President Trump that he was hiring, he was appointing Dr. Casey Means as Surgeon General. Okay, if you don't know who Dr. Casey Means is, I think you should probably look it up or look her up. Her book is Good Energy, right? It's a great book, and it is all about what is contained in the poisonous garbage that is contained in the mass-produced food supply. As a matter of fact, just speaking to the people in our audience in New Orleans, specifically, we live in the greatest food city/state on earth. No place in the world has greater natural resources than we have right here in Louisiana. You got the Gulf of America, 40 miles from where I am currently seated in Madisonville, Louisiana. You got obviously the Mississippi River. You have Lake Pontchartrain, home to there's a shark season in there. Bet you didn't know that. But home to a brown shrimp season. There is a crab season. We have plentiful wild game, deer, you name it, even wild hogs roaming about the countryside. There's almost nothing that won't grow here. You want to grow a pepper? Fine, grow it. You want to grow a cauliflower head? Grow it. And we're kind of famous for this. You want to raise hogs? Well, the great climate to do all of that. Lots of sunshine, and again, and the best people in the world. The people of Louisiana I've been to nearly every state in the Union. I have broadcast live in 15 of them. I've broadcast live in 3 different countries, and I can tell you that literally there is no place like home when you're talking about New Orleans or you're talking about just our beloved state of Louisiana. La Louisiane. It's just a beautiful, wonderful place. Why we would need to institutionalize our food and have it mass-produced just makes absolutely no sense to me unless we're just lazy, fat bastards. That didn't make sense. Well, I ain't got time to cook all that stuff up. Well, find something else to cut out of your schedule then. And I think that this is going to happen anyway because, Governor Landry, oh, so heaven forfend I said Edwards. Oh, gosh. Take me to the guillotine. I volunteer. Do it. Governor Landry has already signed the SNAP exclusion bill. Little children that go to public schools and get government lunches aren't getting snacks anymore. I think that there should be, and I believe ultimately that RFK Jr. will get around to this, there ought to be a wholesale ban on K-Row. You shouldn't be able to buy K-Row unless you're going to put it in your garden. High fructose corn syrup is absolute human pancreatic poison. It doesn't need to be in anyone's barbecue sauces. It doesn't need to be in anyone's kitchen. Again, other than if you're going to use it as a glue or something sticky to catch ants, fine. But again, so RFK Jr., but Casey Dr. Means' book is all about what I just said. And it's all about her. She breaks down the industrial garbage that's in the food supply, and then says, okay, what did we use before this mass-produced crap came along? And he says, well, this is what used to be used. I'll give you a great example. Food dyes. Now, the dyes are already being banned. FD&C3, FDC red number 42 or 43, I forget which one it is. One of the yellows. This stuff is absolute. Dude, if you put this on a dropper and you, consumed enough of it, it's poison. It'll literally make you sick. So in any event, there was a controversy 2 days ago when RFK Jr.'s running mate, Nicole Shanahan, said that she thinks that the Means twins, and they are twins, Casey and Callie, that the Means twins are Manchurians. Now, I don't know what she meant by this. She mean that they're actually Chi-Com spies? I don't know. Well, RFK Jr. came out and said that that's not true. Do we have that soundbite? We do. A digital media file number 7. I'll tell you what, we'll take it up to the break with it, because I think that this is probably one of the most important appointments here. And given that we're in the city that gave the world the gift of Cajun cooking and Cajun cuisine, speaking of New Orleans, I think everyone ought to hear this. So here you go.
The Surgeon General nominee was supposed to be a hearing today on Capitol Hill. Dr. Neshwat was pulled. She's heading here to the HHS. What happened with all that?
What happened with her withdrawal? We talked to Dr. Neshwat. We're going to put her at a very good place here at HHS. Casey Means, we felt, was the best person to really bring the vision of MAHA to the American public. She has this unique capacity to articulate it. She's written a book that really mobilized, galvanized the movement. She is an extraordinary. She is excellence in everything that she's ever endeavored.
Obviously, she's come under her own criticism about some of the things she's advocated for. She never finished her residency, and she doesn't currently have an active medical license.
Oh, can't have that now, can we?
She was the very top of her medical class at Stanford. She's during her residency, she won every award that she could win. She walked away from traditional medicine because she was not curing patients. She couldn't get anybody within her profession to look at the nutrition contributions to illness. And she said, if we're really going to heal people, if we're healers.
All right, hold the thought. Stop the tape. We're going to take a quick time out. We're going to come back. Brother Andre Marie with this next segment. Don't you touch that dial.
We don't know if there's gold in them hills of Dahlonega, Georgia, but we do know there's a pound of gold in the Mike Church vault. And all you have to do to win is listen for the golden sound of the day. Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. on the Mike Church Show on the Crusade Radio Network.
This is a pixel. I'm Groot. Now, if you put a couple of million of these guys together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple of billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 360 billion of them, and you got Chesterton's book, Orthodoxy. But it doesn't smell like a book, and it burns teeny little holes in your cornea. So is the pixel really your friend? I'm Groot. No, but the Founders Trading Post is your friend, and we have actual books with actual smelly pages. Plus, our little bookstore has everything you'd expect. I'm Groot. Yes, Groot, to the gourmet coffee, but no to the One Tree Hill sappy guitar music.
Pick up a copy of G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy, plus many other Chesterton titles at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, May the 9th, 2025. This report is brought to you by Mike Church's Beast and Butt Rub, a rub that has won championships and will help make you a champ in your kitchen or backyard. Check out Mike's recipes and pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, it was another good day for the major indexes. The Dow Jones up 0.62%, the S&P 0.58%. NASDAQ climbed 1.07%. In National Day calendar news, today is National Home Front Heroes Day, honoring the millions of civilians past and present who provide support to service members from the home front. It's National Knockout Rose Day, Alphabet Magnet Day, it's National Sleepover Day, Military Spouse Appreciation Day, it's National Provider Appreciation Day, Butterscotch Brownie Day, and it's National Moscato Day. It's from the Italian word muscat in Italian, or Moscato, one of the oldest known varieties of grapes grown in the world. Our quote of the day: if we wish to make progress in the service of God, we must begin every day of our life with new eagerness. St. Charles Borromeo, and our saint of the day is St. Gregory Nazianzen. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Every time I play this song, Maggie dances around the studio like little Groot. It's a great memory from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Mike Church here with you on Mike Church on the Crusade Radio Network. This portion of the program brought to you by winapoundofgold.com. I am really giving my pound of gold, my Troy pound of gold, away on May the 23rd. You have to go and get yourself a ticket at winapoundofgold.com today. Support the Crusade Radio Network and all the work that we do here. You know, we were able to go on live and broadcast to the planet yesterday because we have great supporters who participate in our fundraising contest like winapoundofgold.com. So, little slow getting started in this one. I can't think of a better prize, a Troy pound of gold. Now, if you don't want the gold, we'll give you the cash equivalent. If you need a place to store it, the metal sponsor at milesfranklin.com, my friend Andy Scheckman. Andy has donated a 1-year storage facility, because that's what they do. You buy gold from them. You don't have to take it physically if you don't want it. So no worries on where to store the gold, but somebody's going to win it. But you can't win it if you don't go get a ticket. Or 16. So please support the Crusade Radio Network, Mike Church Show, and go today, winapoundofgold.com. To become an affiliate, remember, every 5 tickets you sell with your unique affiliate link or QR code, you get a free ticket. So it's a great deal, great promotion. Hope one of you is going to win that's listening right now. Winapoundofgold.com. All right, to the StreamYard hotline, Brother Andre Maury, the St. Benedict Center, is standing by and waiting. He, freshly off his trip of Arthurian legend pursuit in England with Sir Charles Coulomb, and brother, you nursed yourself back to health. Are you good?
I think I'm good. Yes, I'm mending my throat now with some chicory coffee from New Orleans that I got here.
Boy, it will warm your heart to know. I don't know if you still have any family left here, but we're on 990 AM WGSO right now.
That's glorious. I'm glad to be in New Orleans again, even only if by projecting my voice there electronically.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Brother is the host of Reconquest, a great radio show that's been on the Crusade Radio Network. Coming up on 10 years now. Brother is also the prior of the St. Benedict Center in Richmond, New Hampshire. He is obviously then a member of the MICM, the Slaves to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. He is the official Catholic correspondent of the Mike Church Show on the Crusade Radio Network. I know you read what Joe Doyle had to say about Pope Leo XIV, so I guess that's a good place to start, brother. What think you?
Well, I thought Joe's analysis was not unjust. I mean, I thought it was good that he gave as much of the history as he did of the Pope. I mean, it's significant. He's an Augustinian friar. That's significant, which means that at one time he wore the same habit that I wear, by the way, because our habit is an Augustinian habit. And he wore the same rule that we observe, or rather, he observed the same rule, lived the same rule that we observe here, the rule of St. Augustine. So he's the seventh member of the OSAs, the Order of St. Augustine, to ascend to the throne of Peter. He's also a graduate of Villanova University, which, by the way, is an Augustinian university. People think of it. I think people just think of basketball when they think of Villanova.
They do.
But it's actually a Catholic university, and it's named after St. Thomas of Villanova, who was an Augustinian bishop saint, member of the OSA. If nothing else, I think this Leonine pontificate will be an occasion for people to learn that there is this order called the Order of St. Augustine, and that they have many saints and blesseds. I think it was, he also mentioned that he was one of the few popes in recent history. Gregory the 16th was the last one before Pope Francis, and now Pope Leo, who were part of the so-called regular clergy, that is to say, priests who are also religious. And he's the first head of a religious order, because he was at one time the Father General of the Order of St. Augustine, to ascend to the throne of Peter in centuries. First time in centuries that the head of a religious order has ascended to the throne of Peter. I mean, look, if you look at his education, Villanova, I mean, his education there was in mathematics, right? So his bachelor's, his BS was in mathematics, but then he got a Master of Divinity from the Catholic Theological Union in Chicago. And of course, when I saw that, I cringed, because anyone who knows anything about that institution knows, especially at the time he was there, that it was extremely progressive. And when I say progressive, which means going forward, I don't mean going forward in the wrong way, the way the progressivism, liberal, modernist and all that. Of course, this doesn't bind him to anything. We're not bound by our personal history, certainly not. I mean, if you look at what was being taught in classrooms at LSU while I was there, or at Holy Apostles while I was there, I would hope you wouldn't judge me based upon that. So, and so he then, I mean, academically, he got a master's. He got a licentiate, which is sort of the ecclesiastical equivalent of a master's degree, and then a doctorate, a JCL and a JCD, respectively, in canon law. So he's a canon lawyer, which at the very least you can assume he's going to be a law and order man. Now, Joe had two kind of negative notes, quite negative notes in his assessment, and when he went off of the biography and just started sort of giving his own personal statement. He said that he did support certain innovations of Pope Francis, namely giving the Holy Eucharist to the divorced and civilly remarried who continue to cohabit in sin.
Right.
And that, now I haven't fact checked that. Not that I would need to fact check Joe per se. I just don't know the nuances of it, know exactly what he said. Yet he is clearly against the homosexual agenda, and he wasn't enthused about blessings for same-sex couples, warning about sympathy for beliefs and practices that contradict the gospel. So that's something that's good. He also explicitly, openly opposed female ordination, calling it the clericalization of women. Now, that certainly won't make him popular in radical progressive circles, for sure. I think we shouldn't be too upset over the fact that he criticized J.D. Vance over the issue of the Ordo Amoris, although I would certainly disagree with him. I publicly agreed with Vance on the statement. But what we have to be careful of, and I've seen other people warning about this, Father, a priest that I forget his name right now, on Twitter said, look, let's not judge him based upon American political categories. You just can't do this. American political categories do not translate into ecclesiastical.
Father Calvin
power.
Robinson?
No,
Or was it Father
not him.
Robertson? Okay.
He's not a Catholic. I'm talking about a Catholic priest.
Okay.
He's a hermit or something.
Father David Nix.
Father Nix.
Okay.
He pointed this out, and this is something that your friend, the Canadian SSPX guy with the cool mustache and beard, Kennedy Hall, right? He says this frequently, that you can't, especially by American political standards, you can't judge ecclesiastical polity. You really can't. And he pointed out yesterday, Kennedy Hall, that is, that a lot of what passes for conservatism in American political affairs is actually contrary to the church's social teaching.
It's not very conservative.
Which is a much more expansive reality than the limited outlook of American political discourse. But this about distributism economics. I mean, these are huge, complicated issues, and I don't want to dwell on them. But let's just say that I'm not too. I don't have my nose too much out of joint that he disagreed publicly with J.D. Vance about the Ordo Amoris. We can certainly question what he says about immigration. It's not infallible. But he hasn't spoken yet as Pope. So I think the first message is give him time. Even Joe, who had some negative things to say, said time will tell.
Right.
And he also said, as Phil Lawler did and many, many other commentators did, that he wore the traditional garb. He wore the mozzetta and the stole that Pope Francis eschewed when he was coming out onto the
loggia.
About the loggia of St. Peter's to make his first greeting to the church and the world as Pope. So, as far as optics go, that was excellent. Now, Phil Lawler also said something else that I said before the papal election. I said, if the new Pope chooses to live in the Apostolic Palace rather than Casa Santa Marta, then that would also be good optics, and it would also show the world that he wants to return to a sort of state of, for want of a better term, papal normalcy.
We'll take it.
Yeah, and he is, and from what I'm hearing from traditionalist circles, I mean, you just quoted, but before I came on, you quoted Damian Thompson,
yes,
quoting a friend saying that all the Trinity connections he's heard say that Pope Leo is not the kind of person who wants to hurt people, and he probably won't aggressively go after the traditionalists. Let's see. So far, he's certainly made statements indicating he wants to be the Pope for the whole church. Now, progressivists have expressed their their joy at his election, but Cardinal Burke and Cardinal Sarah both expressed joy at his election to the Supreme Pontificate, and more importantly, not his election, but his actually assenting to the office. It seems that he's a quote unquote compromise candidate. Which it's actually impressive that in 2 days of voting, in 3 or perhaps 4 ballotings, they came up with a pope so quickly, considering the fact that this is the largest college of cardinals ever, that he is and that these cardinals don't know each other. That was one of the biggest things people were saying, that Pope Francis, by his interesting appointments and expanding the College of Cardinals so much, set it up that so many of these cardinals simply didn't know each other. And given that, they still in very rapid time came up with a candidate. So, but days before the conclave started, some people were saying he might be elected. And
he was on a short list for sure.
Yeah,
many people.
He was being fingered as a sort of compromise candidate. obviously, look, we're not talking about politics, and this is something that we, especially as Americans, but I was just in England, and people there have the same idea because of electoral politics screwing up the way we think. This is a the Catholic Church is a supernatural organism.
True.
It's the church. It's the bride of Christ. It's the mystical body of Christ. It's the ark of salvation, which, by the way, he called it in his first sermon as Pope, in his first homily. He preached about the church, and I just posted something just before coming on. I put something up on Catholicism.org, which, by the way, for the listeners out there that don't know who the heck this person is you're hearing, go to Catholicism.org if you want to find out who this guy is, me meaning. But I just posted something called Introducing Pope Leo XIV, and I cobbled together some stuff from Phil Lawler and also from Joe Doyle. And I gave my own thoughts. In his sermon, in his homily, first homily as Pope, it was very Christological. It was very scriptural. It was patristic. He talks about St. Ignatius of Antioch being martyred in Rome and why. He talks about the church as an ark of salvation sailing through the waters of history and a beacon that illumines the dark nights of this world. He called the church the mystical body, which is a very Augustinian name for the church, title for the church. It's one of my favorites, to call the church the mystical body of Christ. And he referred to the church in scriptural terms as a city set on a hill. He had a missionary message that was, I would say, very Catholic and very Orthodox and very evangelical in the true sense of that term, meaning to spread the gospel.
Right.
Now, I'm suggesting that people pray to him, to Our Lady of Good Counsel. And there's a reason why I say this, because as I said, he's an Augustinian. He went to Villanova. He was educated by all the Augustinians. He entered and professed solemn vows in 1981, was ordained in 1982 as an Augustinian priest. And the Our Lady of Good Counsel, you may have heard of this miraculous, it's a fresco, really. It's a small image of Our Lady that's in a church under the care of the Augustinians from the 14th century. The image itself dates from the 15th century, and it was miraculously relocated into this Augustinian church in Genazzano, Italy. And it made this miraculous trek across the Adriatic. You can learn about this. The TFP has written up a really wonderful article and actually a whole book on Our Lady of Good Counsel.
Yes, we have the book here.
It's Our Lady of Good Counsel, aka Our Lady of Genazzano. But this little section of a fresco was miraculously popped out of a church in Albania when Albania was being overrun by the infidels, by the Muslims, and two Albanians followed the image, and they literally walked across the Adriatic to follow it. It was a real miracle, and it shows up in this Augustinian church. Again, the church is built in the 14th century and entrusted to the OSAs, aka the Hermits of St. Augustine. Now, that's a little confusing, the name of the order. They call themselves the Hermits of St. Augustine, but they're actually friars. They don't live in little hermitages in the woods alone or anything. They're considered one of the five great mendicant orders of the 13th century because they were reorganized as friars during that time, like the Carmelites, the Franciscans, the Dominicans, the Mercedarians. So Our Lady of Good Counsel is a beautiful title. I invoke her sometimes. I should do more because as anybody with any kind of authority at all, mine is very modest, obviously, especially when compared to the Pope of the Universal Church. People need good counsel, right? They need counsel. We have to use prudence, the cardinal virtue of prudence, when we rule over others, when we rule over ourselves too, because you can't practice any virtue without prudence. But when we rule over others, we especially need prudence not to mess them up. And the Pope needs it. And where we don't have sufficient prudence, we need something higher, that is counsel from outside. And the Holy Ghost is the great counselor, and Our Lady is the spouse of the Holy Ghost. And under this title of Our Lady of Good Counsel, may she bring some good counsel into the mind and soul and heart of Pope Leo XIV, so that he can govern the true Church of Christ wisely and prudently.
Brother, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we're just about out of time. And you said you only had 15 minutes anyway, so I thought we'd fit it.
Well, but I had some stuff I wanted to get off. So
And it was wonderful. It was brilliant. I'd just like to add a thing or two before Brother checks out here with us. Number one, counsel is also a gift of the Holy Ghost. And it's one that someone like me, when he's saying his rosary, appeals to the Holy Ghost, because I certainly need it every day for the gift of counsel. Fear of God, understanding, knowledge, wisdom, counsel, and fortitude. I almost always pick counsel, brother. So you're right about that. People that are in positions of authority should always go to Our Lady of Good Counsel. And then something else I wanted to drop in when you were speaking. People have cherry-picked this speech that he gave, where he came out for the unlimited immigration. That there is a cut in the middle of it. We have actually found someone on X.com actually posted. It was Father or Calvin Robinson actually posted the entire speech. So they cut out the part, and they're selectively placing this. They cut out the part where he says, "Look, it is a massive problem, and there has to be a solution to it." So it wasn't as though he just went, "I know we're going to have mass immigration, and J.D. Vance is wrong, and this and that and the other." But brother, because I'm up on the GSO clock, I have to clock out, if you will. It's always great to see you and to get to introduce you to our listeners in New Orleans on 990 AM WGSO. You meet Brother Andre Marie. You can find him hiding in plain sight at crusadechannel.com. Look for the Reconquest Show. And then you can also find him, of course, at Catholicism.org. So, brother, great to have you back. It's been like, a month?
Mike, just really quick,
Sure.
the residents of the Big Easy need to know that I am a Holy Cross man, and I always will be.
Okay, I thought it was Holy Cross. I'm like, man,
you cut my wrist, and blue and gold bleed from it. So, and I was in the band, and I know that I still know the fight song and all that. So,
all right.
I not to slight Jesuit. I had cousins that went to Jesuit, but I am a Holy Cross man.
All right, Brother Andre Marie, Holy Cross man, prior at the St. Benedict Center, Catholicism.org, host of Reconquest. Nice to have you back in the States and have that beautiful voice of yours back. I hear it sounds really good. Looking forward to some new Reconquest, and we're going to be talking a lot about Pope Leo XIV, so looking forward to having you back on, brother. God bless you.
You're welcome. God bless you too, Mike.
All right, thank you very much. And go Holy Cross. Okay, folks, wow, it's always great to have brother, and he has so much to say, obviously, and a lot to say.
Forgot the goal.
What did he say?
You forgot the goal.
Marsden. Well, he paid him in gold.
Bastard. He's right.
Leave us some water, and you can have the gold.
I can have the gold anyway.
That's what I thought you'd say.
All right, so that's obviously Tom Selleck from Quickly Down Under, and yes, he was laying on a pile of gold. 844-527-8723, our call and line telephone number. Always great to hear and to talk with Brother Andre Marie, and as you heard, I think that these things are all good signs. We had a great conversation with Don from the Bronx, our Catholic Cultural Affairs correspondent. See, our brother, I made the distinction. Our cultural affairs correspondent this morning. And it's nice to have this diversity, that we had these different opinions. Don's was very nuanced, as he's calling it. Brother's was a little bit more upbeat. We played some sound bites. I'm taking the wait and see approach. I look at the confluence of events. Chosen on the second day of the conclave, takes the name of Leo XIV, and the last Leo that we had, Leo XIII, was a Titan when a Titan with a quill pen in his hand was needed, and of course the author of Rerum Novarum. And some people may be listening, going like, "Is this a Catholic show? I tune in. If I want this, I'll go." Talking about current events, the world is talking about the Catholic Church today. As a matter of fact, if you turn on Fox News, that's all pretty much all you're going to hear all day long. So I wanted to bring that up, and also because he was selected on the Feast of St. Michael the Archangel. And Pope Leo XIII gave us the St. Michael the Archangel prayer. So, is that a coinkydink? I don't know. No, I don't. There are no such thing as a coincidence, especially, as Brother said, the church is a supernatural institution. Who is it? He can't win. He already has 30 tickets. Let's go to the Gold Maker hotline. Who is this?
This is Bob.
You
want me to not win?
Well, how many times did you get through?
This is the first time I got through. Julie got through twice.
Okay, no, I mean today. When you called today, did you get through?
No, this is the first one. Julie got through. She was 4 and 10, and now I'm whatever 12.
All right, so your family has a great shot of winning this gold. I tell you what, you guys you guys are racking up tickets. Bob from Michigan. Yes, Bob.
I think it's a great opportunity. You know, like you said. And I was telling Julie the other day. I said, you're really never going to know how much exactly that you won until you sell the gold, or if you ever do.
Yep,
right?
That's right. Bob from Michigan, our big winner today. Thank you, Bob. God bless you, brother. So,
God bless you.
All right, we'll talk soon. Tell her that we said hi and we love her. All right, folks, a whole week has come to a close. WinAPoundOfGold.com. Go and buy your tickets today. WinAPoundOfGold.com. To all of my beloved mothers out there, to all of our Crescent City ladies, New Orleans ladies, happy Mother's Day. We'll see you Monday. God bless you and Mary keep you.